This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live, as the A's are going to be taking on the Halos down in Anaheim. And in a second, Shooty Babitt is going to join me, and we're going to talk about how, the A's need to remember how the last time the Angels came to West Sacramento and pimped it around for 4 days. I hope the A's remember that as they're trying to make a little comeback themselves and go down there to the Big A and put it on them for 3 days before you have a day off. We are going to see, I know Shooty is adamant about that. We're going to have Lawrence Butler on the program today, and we're also going to have Hall of Famer 22 Minutes with the great Jim Palmer right here on A's Cast Live. It was an honor to sit down with him. Steve Sachs and I were able to do that up in Sacramento. Can't wait to play that for you because Jim Palmer is a big deal, truly one of the greatest of all time. But Shooty Babitt is joining us. He's going to be with me later on A's Cast on NBC Sports California. I just want to say, for you and the front office, I look at today's lineup. Butler, Wilson, Soderstrom, Muncy, Kurtz back and in the lineup. Denzel Clark, Grant Holman, who will be the opener, but he will be the starter. All those names I just mentioned, drafted and have come through the system. Something we're going to talk about today. The future of the Athletics is on display now. The future, if you're going to dig out of a hole, is now with the young guys. Because Miguel Andujar, we have no idea when he's going to be back. Brent Rooker is your oldest guy at 30. McIver is catching until Shea Langoliers comes back. He's 28. Urias is 27. Everybody else is young. Everybody else is who you drafted. Think of Mason Miller, also who you drafted. I think right now for the front office, which you're a part of, says a lot about some good things have been happening. And these young kids, if you're going to get back into this thing, it's going to be the kids.
It's so great to be back, first of all. It's good to see you backing off that plank you were walking down when I left. But, boy, you were wearing that bad baseball, as bad as some guys with a cheap suit on, if you will. But,
it was rough.
It was, but it looked like you went and got one tailored up and looking good again. But on Towny, it's this season. I always talk about you have to be patient. I understand that we're in a world of right now, but I understand baseball if I don't understand anything else, especially a 162-game season, not just as a player, but as a person that's worked in this business for over 40 years. And it's not how you start, it's how you end. It's like a good book. If there's no content in the middle, you can forget about that depending on how it starts and how it ends, because basically that's all that matters. But what happens in the middle is basically what makes it good. And for a young club, the players that you've talked about and the maturity and the progress and the process that they've been going through at the major league level speaks volumes of how the organization goes about recognizing players that fit into a program or a culture, if you will. And you're starting to see some of the fruit of the labor early on. I mean, yes, a lot of fruit on the tree, but you can't jump up there and pick it before it's ripe. Let it fall down a little bit. And we see these guys are starting to hang a little bit on the limb, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we were together, Denzel Clark was striking out at a rate that was alarming. You and I were together talking about that. Max Muncy was down in AAA, starting to figure it out. They sent him back down. He made, because of injury, he made the squad at a camp. sent him back down, kind of hit the reset button. You know, you start looking at Nick Kurtz was getting hot, but then got hurt. Well, now he is back. It is interesting now that we're back together how the team looks. Now, do they have a long way to go? There's no question about it. We're on the way in today, the commander and I, listening to MLB Now, where they're talking about the Atlanta Braves, how the Atlanta Braves have started to lose again. And they're on a bad losing streak. And they're talking about, you know, for them to get back in this thing and to get where they were last year when they made the playoffs, they're going to have to be 66 and 30-something. So you're now at a point that if you've dug yourself a hole, whether you're talking about the Braves or you're talking about the A's or teams who had expectations, you're now going to have to play well over 500 baseball to get yourself back in this. But this is the fun part of the game, right? Let's see what these young players can do.
Well, it takes a team effort. I mean, you start talking about the Atlanta Braves and comparing what they're going through. This is a team that have been challenging for National League East championships, trying to get to the World Series, have been to the World Series. And the nucleus of this club is pretty much together. When you're talking about Olsons and Murphys and the center fielder over there, I mean, Harris, I mean, you've got the third baseman. I mean,
I just went Ron Washington on you, by the way.
My gosh, it's incredible, but it's so hard to get everything going at the same time. And when you have players that are at different stages of their development as what they're going to be, because we don't know. Guys have 1-2 years maybe in the big leagues, max for most of these guys, and to look at them and evaluate them and say what they're going to be in this short body of work, I'm not that good to do that. I mean, I've seen players this year already that I'm going to go back and see again to make sure that what I saw is what I saw, or I didn't see something that I should have. And that's the beauty of my job, is that I get a chance to see guys in the winter and the spring and the fall. You have to take so many things in consideration, circumstance. You talk about Denzel Clark. I need to beg his pardon from him, because I'm one guy that I've seen him for a little while and not make the adjustments that I thought were necessary for him to become a decent hitter. But it goes to show you environment means something. It's quite obvious some hands have been on him. And most of all, more importantly than anything else, it's the aptitude. It's the ability to make adjustments. And at the big league level, everybody can't do it. I mean, I said earlier to you, he looked like a chicken coming out the egg when he first got up here. He didn't know where he was. And as he's become more comfortable and he's starting to learn, and Kotze start talking about he's got his feet underneath him. You don't see this big, long stride. You don't see him late on everything. You see a guy that's fighting a little bit. I saw him shoot a ball to right field down the first base line yesterday. That was a beautiful piece of hitting. And when you see a big man like that and do those type of things and make the adjustments, man, oh man, what's it going to look like when he goes around a few times and start learning a little more and more and more? You know, the athlete. I mean, he should be one of these dudes that they put all those monitors and stuff on when they do run and all that kind of stuff.
For video games.
Man, what? It's so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, you want to pat the organization on. They're doing a tremendous job recognizing ability and projecting on what guys might be, and we're seeing it really early on.
And that catch we saw on Friday is one of the best catches you're ever going to see. And it came out today that he is catch of the week, defensive play of the week for the second straight week. He has gotten that honor. It doesn't happen a lot that someone gets it 2 straight weeks. This guy, Denzel, I can't wait we've seen some, I think of now that the ball club is down in Anaheim, and we just saw our old friend Ramon Laureano with the Orioles. Ramon and Cespedes both made unbelievable outfield plays down in Anaheim. So we'll see if that trend continues with Denzel Clark over the next 3 days, because he is absolutely electric. Jay Willie, he continues, every single day in the notes, who he's being compared to, what he is doing. It is just on pace for 225 hits, 35 hits, 12 RBIs, 11 runs in his last 19 games. We're going to get your first take on it later on NBC, but man, it's so much fun. It's so refreshing to see a guy show up. You forget about what it was like, a lot of controversy lately, but you forget what it was like to watch Pete Rose play, or somebody like Ichiro or Tony Gwynn or Wade Boggs, where Rod Carew, where every single day these guys have 3,000 hits. I know what, in the green room before this show, we were talking about it, and all these players that we bring up, none of them played shortstop. So you start to think of guys that had 3,000 hits who played shortstop, maybe not their entire career, but during their career. The one guy that I think of, and he was so young, 18 years old. He's one of the great athletes because he won an MVP at short and center field. And even you mentioned, could be on the tour at golf. He was so good. It was such an unbelievable. It was the great Robin Yount, the Hall of Famer, had over 3,000 hits. And then you brought a really interesting name up where I went, wow, I didn't think about that.
Well, when we start throwing those numbers out there and what he's doing at this point and trying to put it all together, if he puts a whole year together, who would it remind you of? And if I look at it as a body of work and he gets a chance to continue to play for 10 years and he stays on the field and he stays healthy, we're talking about maybe Cal Ripken Jr. I mean, if you look at the body, you look at the skill set, Cal may have a little more power. I don't know. Jacob doesn't have a mustache yet, so he's still going to get a little stronger. He's hit 8 bombs already. He showed you he can do that, but he's a hitter. But the one thing when you start talking about guys that are special and the names that you brought up, and I think about them the first time I ever saw them in the minor leagues. I mean, guys that weren't in the big leagues at the time. Tony Gwynn, Kirby Puckett, Wade Boggs, and Paul Tuckett. He was in Bristol at that time with the Red Sox.
How good do it like when you saw Wade Boggs? I mean, immediately when you saw him, did you just go, "Wow, this guy's different."
Unique. And the thing about it, what all of these guys have in common, Rod Carew, same kind of guy, is that they don't make a lot of outs. The balls that they put in play. I guarantee if you go look at that Babitt on him, that's not Babitt, but it's Babitt. Batted at balls and play. When they put their hands on it, it's not bad swings. It's not chasing out of the zones. It's swings that they're able to repeat. And they've done this so many times. And they've kind of like have this wand in their hand. It's just like Ichiro, you mentioned. It's an art. And when you see him, he looks like an artist. I mean, I don't care if it's up the middle, if it's right field, it's down the line. Jay Merniz. I mean, these guys trying to pitch him all different kind of ways. And it seems like they're pitching into his strength. But to put it in short term, I just say that he is unique, and you don't get a chance to see it that often. But when you see it, that's a great thing about scouting. When you see it, you believe it because it's real. And what he's doing is not no mistake. At this age, he's been around the game. He's got the DNA. He's a young man in a grown man baseball body as much as he's been around baseball mind, if you will, because he's been around this game so long. And he's able to just do things that other kids are not able to do at this age. It's scary what he might be able to do over a 10-year period.
And it's been great to see Brent Rooker get hot, and then a guy that, means so much to the organization top to bottom, because you talk about relationships and how everybody has been a part of his journey has been Lawrence Butler since he was drafted out of high school. And, to watch Lawrence early in the season, maybe it was the contract, maybe it was the extension, trying to do too much. Then all of a sudden that up the middle to left field approach came back, and you started seeing him filleting doubles down the line, hitting the balls out of the ballpark to center. And right now, like the last 23 games, what a heater Lawrence Butler is on.
It just goes to show you. I mean, baseball is a tough game. I mean, 3 hits out of 10 is great, but it's what you do with the other 7 is going to indicate what you're able to do with the other ones. And it's how you prepare and go through it. And it's a long season. You hear different messages. You hear the same message. It's a lot of failure. It's a lot of pressure. We never know what these guys are going through, why they may be struggling. I mean, for me, and I look at Rooker, he is the perfect model of a veteran guy who can lead a young team and perform at the same time. Never changes, same disposition, always professional. I said early on, this dude should be a congressman or something. I mean, somebody that really represent what people's supposed to be about, man. So
the man of the people.
They get it. He is the man of the people, no doubt about it.
Run.
So hey, Butler, he loves green and gold. We talk about that. Sometimes people get caught up in perception of what they see because the guy he's got personality. I mean, everything is matching, but make mistake about it. Everything he's got on is green and gold, and he's into this brand and this team. The players love him. The fans love him. We love him. You love him. I love him. The energy, he's everything that you want. I mean, when you look at him and Jacob Wilson, I mean, my goodness. I mean, what better rack to hang these two fellas on right here, man? I mean, they take your stock way up there, man. So we're getting a chance to see something that might be great, Towny. And it's a blessing and honor to be able to watch it this close right now.
I know it sounds old school, but when you look at Jacob and you look at Lawrence, they're the two guys you put up on the billboards on the side of the freeways, man. These are the kids you go, this is the future. We got a chance, Steve Sachs and I, to sit down with Lawrence Butler because, I was like, before we get out of town in Sacramento, we want to talk with him. Here is our conversation in West Sacramento at the ballpark with Lawrence Butler. Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, he's one of our favorites, and he is absolutely red hot, the Law Dog, Lawrence Butler. It's great to have you back on set. Good to see that the ball club's winning some games, and you, my friend, you're on a heater right now.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me back. And, yeah, I mean, we're feeling good, trying to just continue to swing it, just hopefully we can, just start closing out these games and, just getting back on track to, where we were first couple of months in the season.
Because the reality is, and Steve Sachs keeps saying this too, despite how bad it was, getting these two victories, getting your mojo back, we can see kind of everybody's body language is back. There's a long way to go. There still is some time.
Yeah, we got a lot of season left. I mean, and, we keep reiterating that in the locker room that, no matter what happened in the past, there's still a lot of season left. All we can do is go out there and win games and, see where we end up at the end of the season.
Lawrence, 10 multi-hit games in your last 19 games. You are smoking hot right now. And one thing that I like about what you're doing is you're taking that ball to left field when they offer it out there, and you're hitting the ball from foul line to foul line. When you go up to bat, are you even thinking about mechanics, or are you just see ball, hit ball?
Right now, it's just see ball, hit ball. I'm not trying to think about, what my body's doing, what my arm's doing. I kind of just took it back to, travel ball days.
Yeah.
You just see the ball, hit the ball, swing at the strikes, take the balls. I mean, that's kind of just me simplifying my plan right now at the plate.
Right.
It's what we actually talked about this on this show. We talked about it on NBC, where it's like there's so much data out there. There's so much video. There's so many things that you can grind. At some point, you just got to say, I'm going to get there, get in the box, free my mind, see ball, hit ball. I'm so glad to hear that because sometimes the best way to go is just to simplify it.
Yeah, I mean, because, with all the analytics stuff and all the video, you kind of get caught up within that stuff, just trying to have a perfect swing. And, there's no such thing as a perfect swing. It's just going out there competing, every at bat, every pitch, just trying to hit the ball hard. So, that's kind of what I've been doing, just getting the pitch where I want it and, just trying to hit it hard and see what happens after that.
Yeah, Lawrence, in a way, I do feel sorry for the opposition pitchers. He's got to face you, Jay Willie, and Rooker. I mean, and you three guys are hotter than a pistol. I mean this is a key to start and keep this mojo going.
Right now, I'm telling myself, just get to second base. If I get to second base, I know Jacob going to drive me in. So that's kind of been what's been going on. I'm just trying to get to second for him. And, I mean, after him, you got Brent Rooker, who's an amazing hitter. I mean, then you got Shooty. It's just, it goes on. But, yeah, me, Rook, and Jay Willie have been, just been talking to the dugout. We kind of been relaying all the pitches to everybody, what we're seeing at the plate, after an at-bat. Just trying to give everybody a good look on, what the pitcher's trying to do to us and what he's throwing to us.
Yeah. We've talked about in the past, you growing up in the minor leagues and you did it with Geloff, and hopefully he'll be back soon. And you think about Soderstrom, some of these guys. But Jacob Wilson is something kind of new to everybody. Last 12 games, he's hitting 500. It's unbelievable. The rookie record for batting average in a season was Ichiro at 350. He's over 360 now. Have you ever seen anything like this?
I've never seen anything like this. It's just absolutely kind of jaw-dropping to just watch him go out there every day and get 2 hits at the minimum. It's like minimum. And it'd be crazy because he'll have a game where he'll get 1 hit or no hits, and he'll be like, man, I can't hit. We're like, bro, if you ain't getting none today, you're getting 4 tomorrow.
That's right.
You're getting 3 the next day. Like, Jay Willie, just chill out. He's an amazing hitter. Nobody has ever on our team, we haven't seen anybody like this. Just watching him go in day out, day in, put his work in, go out there, playing shortstop, add to that. He's a great ball player. He's a gamer. He loves the game. He just focuses on the game all the time. All he loves is baseball. All he watches is baseball. The kids, he was born for it. Born for it.
Yeah, Lawrence, when you talk about Jay Willie and what he's doing, I mean, I played against a lot of great ones. You know, Paul Molitor, Tony Gwynn, a lot of unbelievable hitters, and Jay Willie is in that zone. I'm telling you, he is. And one thing I wanted to tell you as well is us leadoff hitters, we got to stick together. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing, you added such another element to the leadoff hitter, because you're a leadoff hitter once, but you're a guy that can also hit with guys on. You can go deep. You can hit the ball out of the park the other way. You add so much more than just the reconnaissance mission your first time up and checking out what the pitcher's got. You can hit the ball out of the park later on in the game.
Yeah, you know, just me being a leadoff hitter, you know, I love the role. I'm glad Cots is giving me the role. Yeah. You know, I just kind of go out there and I just want to kind of just, you know, just because I'm hitting first, I don't have to dial, you know, my game back. You know, I kind of still want to be a powerful hitter, still hit for power, still hit for average. You know, I just really want to set the tone for the rest of the lineup. You know, if I go out there and lead the game off with a double, everybody's feeling good. Everybody's feeling good. Everybody's feeling confident. You know, the whole lineup's like, all right, Law's going. All right, now we can go. Yep. Now we can, you know, feel good. And, you know, that kind of just puts some more pressure on the pitcher, too. Like, I can't just groove heaters in there to the first guy of the game. Sure. I'm swinging. I don't know about everybody else, but
I love that. I love it. So, I love it.
I mean, yeah, I like hitting first. I like being able to set the tone for the team for the rest of the game.
You're doing it too.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. Law's a showman, and you understand this is the entertainment business. So whether it's your first at bat of the game or the rest of the game or even outfield, you're here to put on a show.
Yeah, always want to give the fans something to, you know, go to sleep at night like, dang, I remember Lawrence Butler did this cool thing on the field, or, you know, he did some on the field that made them remember me. So, you know, I just always want to kind of put a show on for the fans, you know, just make baseball fun again, you know, just make it entertaining for everybody that's watching.
Speaking of entertaining, how about Denzel Clark's catch last night?
Oh my God. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. That was by far the nastiest catch I've ever seen. Yeah. And he had it before, and then he just topped it with that one. I mean, he ran, it was like 100-something feet.
120-something feet.
And he was running 29 feet a second when he hit the wall. That's
didn't
crazy.
slow down.
No,
didn't slow down, didn't fear the wall at all. I mean, me and Jay Willie were just like, we looked at each other like, we couldn't believe he caught it.
I'm surprised he didn't break in half.
I think they repaired the wall out there.
They're working on it now.
Yeah, Denzel got up fine, but the wall was leaning a little bit. So
that's right.
I mean, that was an amazing catch. He's an amazing defender. I mean, I've watched him do it, AA, AAA. I mean, he's gonna be a Gold Glove center fielder. I mean, within no time. You know, just keep letting him get reps out there. He's gonna be a Gold Glove center fielder.
Lawrence, it seems that you guys are rubbing off on him, because when he came up, he seemed, you know, he was trying to find his way, struck out a lot. He looks like a different hitter now. I think you guys are rubbing off on him.
I know we've been talking to him because, you know, anybody that comes up, you know, we welcome open arms. You know, we just want him to feel comfortable. You know, we're just trying to help him out. Any little thing we can tell him, and he's always willing to listen. You know, anything we tell him, he's always taking it, you know, with a grain of salt, and just that, you know, that we're trying to help him. You know, we're not telling him anything that'll, you know, try to get in his head or like mess his swing up. We're just trying to tell him simple things that, you know, he can take into the game and, you know, add to his game. And as you see, he's been working. He's been swinging it pretty well. Yeah. I mean, some of these strikeouts I would think have been a little bit off.
Yes.
But I mean, that's normal.
We talk about
rookie.
that too.
Yeah, it's true. Kind of normal for rookies, you know, come up. Umpire's gonna make you earn it. So I mean, he's been doing pretty good with everything though. So I'm glad we got Denzel up here.
Yeah.
I said this to Jacob Wilson, and we know that there's been team meetings, and we know that obviously Brent Rooker has stood up in front of you guys quite a bit. TJ McFarland, the veteran guys, but we're not too far away to where you will be that guy, and Jacob Wilson will be that guy. So how much are you watching Brent Rooker and the other veterans who stand up, take notice of what they're doing? Because in a career, you hope for always good times, that there's going to be some rough patches, but you have been a leader in this organization for a long time, and we're not too far away from you being the leader of this organization. So how much are you paying attention to what's going on when it comes to how to handle the team and be a leader?
I mean, I watch Rook and Cots for the most part every day. I mean, I just kind of watch how they handle things, how they handle situations, you know, their body language and situations. And, you know, I kind of, like you said, I kind of just learn from it and be like, all right, so when it's my turn, when I'm the older vet type of guy, how will I handle my team and how will I handle situations? And, you know, Rook's been doing an amazing job. You know, Cott's been doing an amazing job. You know, all they preach is positivity in the locker rooms and in the dugout. So, you know, they never want us to feel like we're getting too down on ourselves. You know, even though we might be going through a rough patch, you know, that we're still a good team and we still believe that we're going to come out of this. And, we still believe that we can make a playoff push. That's still not out of our heads. Everybody still wants to be playing in October, So, I mean, they've been amazing with a lot of, especially being a lot of young guys on the team. They've been really amazing, helping us out, helping us through the failure and through the ups and downs. So, shout out to Rook, shout out to Sevy too. Sevy gave us a great speech the other day. We came out here, got a win. So, I really appreciate those other guys for, just talking to us and, just kind of showing us the way of, what it is to be a big leaguer. And, that's not going to be peaches and cream all the time.
No, it is not. You know how much you mean to this show. We know how much you mean to the organization. We always appreciate your time before the ball game. Continue winning. Get out of this funk so we can start talking about maybe a playoff.
We got 2 in a row, man. We're just trying to make it 3, game by game.
The great Lawrence Butler right here on A's Cast Live. If the A's are going to get back into this thing, it's going to be the young players. You look at the lineup today against the Angels. The young players are the future, but the future is now if you're going to get out of this. Let's pause for station identification right here on A's Cast. How much time are we going to have on the other side before Jim Palmer? Like 4 minutes. All right, coming up next, I want to go back over that answer because I said the same thing to Jacob Wilson. I wanted to say the exact same. It was almost the exact same question. These kids need to realize that what they're watching when they see Mark Kotze and when they see Darren Bush or they see Scott Emerson or they see Brent Rooker, or they see TJ McFarland, they see Severino, whoever stands up in front of that room, how to command the room, how to lead men through wins, but more importantly, how to lead men through losses and tough times. Because these kids, Wilson and Butler, need to learn because we're going to blink, and before you know it, they're going to be the leaders. This is going to be their franchise. And I thought his answer, what he said and what he's learning was very important. I know Shooty wants to talk about it. The great Shooty Babitt, the Super Scout, is with me right now. Coming up next, we'll expand on that answer by Lawrence Butler, and then we're going to throw it to the great Jim Palmer, one of the greatest players and one of the most famous players in the history of baseball. He was with us. We'll have it for you right here on A's Cast Live.
Calling all kids ages 4 to 15. Join the A's and the Rivercats for our free, family-friendly Play Ball Weekend event in West Sacramento. Saturday, June 14th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Alice Norman Bright Playfields. Enjoy baseball and softball skill stations, games, giveaways, face painting, and more. Your favorite mascots, Stomper and Dinger, will be there. Space is limited, so register today at athletics.com/playball. That's athletics.com/playball. New A's Hall of Famer Tim Hudson joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live to talk about his relationship with Mark Mulder and Barry Zito.
I mean, honestly, I think it would be kind of strange if we didn't get an honor like this all together at the same time. I think we were all pretty much, if you mentioned one, you obviously you've mentioned the other two. And I think and I love that. I love the fact that we were kind of linked into that group together. And, there's a lot of comparisons, us three, to, a lot of the great pitching staffs that Atlanta Braves had back in the day. And me being from the South and being a Braves fan growing up, I knew that was a pretty big deal to be compared to those three guys. And, and I really do think that there was a moment where the three of us, I think we could have matched up with anybody almost in the history of the game in a rotation because, I felt like at any moment Zito was going to go out there and throw a no-hitter or Mulder was going to go out there and throw a no-hitter. They were going to get a ton of swings and misses. And, I felt like it was a pretty special, run of 3 or 4 years that we all three had together. And, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was so much fun to be a part of. And I was a better pitcher for it, for sure.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
Here's the pitch, and it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, now 7 years in a row. Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction, in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters. Folsom Lake Ford, in the Folsom Auto Mall.
Calling all college and grad students. Grab your friends and head to the ballpark with this special offer. Save up to 50% off select regular season games throughout the 2025 season.
A's Cast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
June 22nd is the next bobblehead, Mason Miller bobblehead. That is going to be on our next homestand Sunday against Stephen Vogt and the Guardians. The Brent Rooker bobblehead was yesterday. It was a huge success. It was great, and I can't wait to see Mason Miller. And so we'll have Mason Miller probably that Friday on the 20th. Don't you think? We'll have Mason Miller on to promote the bobblehead. So we'll have Mason Miller on next homestand, and the bobblehead will be the 22nd against the Guardians. All right, quickly before we get to Jim Palmer, I know that statement, you liked what Lawrence had to say. You know, Lawrence has so many great relationships. As you mentioned, the organization means so much to him, the way he was basically raised inside this organization, and everybody at every level has had a part of touching his career and his way up. And you know, when he got that extension, it was such a message that was sent down through the minor leagues going, hey, this guy, you can be like this guy. So when he talks about Rooker, Severino, Kotze, you could tell he's getting it. He knows not too far from now, he's going to be that guy getting up and rallying the troops in the clubhouse in those meetings.
Yeah, it's amazing what goes on with each staff. I mean, there's a host of knowledge, experience. There used to be 2 or 3 guys on the staff. Now you've got about 8 guys that pretty much cover every area. And when you're a young player and you don't have a whole lot to lean on as far as experience, I think it would be very wise for any young man to pay attention to people that are telling them about something that's somewhere that they're going, that they've been, because there is preparation that will get you ready for that. I mean, that's common sense, if you will. But you've got to get young kids to buy in. Everybody wants something right now. They look at the other players. You see all the things that are shining, but you don't look at the work that's been put in and the process and the progress and the failure and everything that takes place, because that's why a lot of people don't like baseball, because it's a game of failure. Back when we were kids, everybody played because that's what everybody did. It wasn't basketball season. We were all playing basketball, football, whatever the case may be.
You went from season to season, right?
Absolutely.
In high school, you played football, then you went into basketball. And then once basketball was over, a lot of the football guys went to track, and then a lot of us would leave basketball and go. I mean, I played all 3 in high school, right? So then I would go from basketball right into baseball. You know, some guys would play soccer instead of baseball, but yeah, everybody played football, and you know, not everybody played basketball, obviously, but everybody played football. Then you went on to basketball, and then you'd either be like track, baseball, or soccer. You were playing 3 different sports. You didn't just play one sport.
And
very rare.
And you found out a lot about yourself playing other sports, because sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes it's team, and you've got to find a way, whatever your skill, whatever your tool, whatever you're good at, where does it fit in? It's a team sport. There's a place for everybody, but it's not a position for everybody. So that's what's so great about sport, because first of all, you found out you like it. And in baseball, you have to love it. And because you find out, first of all, if it's about hit. You know, they were talking about this Red Sox prospect that got brought up today. I mean, he's the top prospect for the Red Sox. I mean, the guy that they drafted. I mean, no player was the number 1 prospect in baseball ever. You talk about Mookie Betts, you talk about Pedroia, you talk all those, none of them. But the first thing they say is the kid is known for a lethal bat. Because if you can swing that thing, so brother, I mean, that is a gift from heaven, because everybody can't do it. So
the Roman Empire has started in Boston. Roman Anthony is now.
and he's legit. He can hit. He does all of that
we
stuff.
got to get to Jim Palmer, so I will see you
Yeah.
with NBC coming up here in just a little bit.
Looking forward to it.
3-time. In this interview, do I give his credentials? Yeah, you're talking about Cy Young's World Series and wearing he made tighty whities cool. Everybody was wearing jockey back in the day. Here is one of the greatest baseball players of all time, the great Jim Palmer. Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live once again is absolute baseball royalty, a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, a 3-time World Series winner, a 6-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Gloves, led the American League in wins 3 times, ERA twice. He's in the Orioles Hall of Fame, and, of course, in 1990, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. The great Jim Palmer is with us once again. How are you? And it's great to see you out here in Sacramento.
I'm good. I'm not as good as we would have won because we've been playing pretty well. We came into last night's game and we won 9 out of the last 11. And, hey, Steve, you played long enough to know you play a team, doesn't matter what their record is.
Doesn't matter.
Can you beat them by a run? Can you, play better than they? And the A's, I met Denzel Clark on the field and, and I said, you should be in the NBA with that height and all that. And I said, I played with a guy, Paul Blair, that won 8 Gold Gloves. And I said, what you have in common, I know you haven't played as long as him, and it kind of jinxed him, I guess. I said, they both had great body awareness. You get to the wall and you go up. But that catch he made last night, saved the game, and was one of the more incredible catches you'll ever see.
Yeah. Jim, first of all, our fans, I want them to know how much I admired watching you play, and I used to run home from school and watch on TV when they had actually the playoffs during the day. And we were talking about this the other day, and you were in a lot of those games, and it was just so great. And then to see you now here and meet you is just
I was kind of wondering. I said, so you're rookie of the year in 82?
2, yeah.
But we played the Dodgers. They were up in Vero Beach. So you trained in Vero. So I pitched against Fernando in Miami, and I was wondering if you actually played that. We actually won we got 13 runs. Obviously not all off of Fernando. It was a spring training game. And I'm kind of wondering, because I know Davey Lopes played that night and so on and so on.
I don't think we ever had gone against each
other.
other.
Here's the deal. It's funny. Everybody's talking about Jacob Wilson. Boy, what a great start he's having this year. But he doesn't strike out a lot, doesn't walk a lot. You had you played 14 years, 5 of those years you walked more than you struck out?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
I don't know. I was just going to ask you something about that, about pitching. Jim, now it seems everybody's hunting the bottom of the baseball. When we played, guys were more down through the middle, above the ball, got backspin on the ball. Today, I can imagine with you and the way you love to pitch up in the strike zone, what would the opposing batting average hit off you, maybe 50.50? Because they're all trying to hunt the bottom of the ball.
Well, yeah, I was blessed with a really good arm. I had 2-seamer, 4-seamer, slider, curveball, changeup. There was a pretty good first baseman actually from Baltimore, Jim Spencer, who won some Gold Gloves. And I kept him from hitting 300 2 years in a row. And he was like, go for 32. And I'd see him. I'd be pitching on Wednesday. We'd be down in Texas. And he played for the Yankees, played for the White Sox. But we're in Texas, and he goes, I'm not swinging at that high fastball. Tuesday, he goes, I'm laying off that high fastball. Wednesday, I'd pitch, first high fastball, pop up or whatever. So now I'm going for my 20th win. And Jim McKeon, the first base umpire, misses the call, and Mike Hargrove is safe instead of being out. So now, instead of me being ahead 2-1, it's 2-2. I'm in the 11th inning, and Jim Spencer was a low fastball hitter. So I throw him a fastball away, and he hits a little looper into left field. Now he's 1 for 33. So I look at him, and I go, do you want the ball? And he goes, you better not throw it over here. And, he played in our basketball team. Because I tried not to. Listen, my job was to get him out, not to show him up. So, hey, guy hit a home run and kind of showed me up. I only hit 38 guys in 4,000 innings. But those were usually the guys that I wanted to hit on purpose. And if I hit you in the knee, he's not throwing at me. Yeah. But getting hit in the knee hurts.
Yes,
as you know as well as anybody.
Absolutely.
The way you recall baseball is amazing. And the last time we had you on, Ray Fosse was with us, the great Ray Fosse, who we miss so much. And we just reminisced that day about the battles between the Athletics and the Orioles. And I know you remember so much about that. It was a big part of your career, but great battles that you had against this organization.
Well, they had really good teams, and if you could beat the A's, you could beat anybody. They had Campaneris, and they had Billy North one year that's, I think, stole 50-some bases. he was only there for a couple of years, but you had Joe Rudy, who was, saved World Series for him and so on. And then you had Reggie, and then you had Bando. The only game that Vita Blue ever won in the postseason was 74. It's the one year I didn't win 20 games in 9 years. I hurt my elbow. So we come back. We win 28 out of the last 34. We go 28-6. So now we're playing the A's, and I lose 1-0. And guess who hits the home run? Vita wins, only postseason win. And fourth inning, I go, I'm not going to get beat 1-0. And I went 3-2 on Sal, who was a really good player. I went to Arizona State with him, even though I was an undergraduate. He hits a home run down the left field line, and I lose 1-0. It's the only every game I lost in the postseason, with exception of one, I got shut out, and that was one of them. But yeah, the A's, they were the gold standard, and they won in 72, won in 73, won in 74. They beat us in the playoffs 73 and 74. But when it's like losing the Pirates in 71 and 79. You got Clemente, you got Scargill, you got Dave Parker's getting in the Hall of Fame this year. You don't mind losing to those teams? How many? I know you won 81 and 88.
Right.
Did you play in any other World Series?
No.
Okay, so but getting there,
oh yeah,
even if you lose is really nice. So listen, they're doing a nice job here. I came here when I did the Money Store ads. I did some stuff so I've always been at this ballpark. But hey, you got to play here for 2-3 years, whatever it is. Hey, make the best of it. I'm not sure I like to pitch here though. Wind blows out, the infield's hard. Not my, it's like playing on AstroTurf. We used to go to Kansas City, and they had Willie Wilson with 230 hits, and Brad on his way to 3,100 hits, and McRae, John Mayberry at 35 home runs. And I'd look around and I go, am I missing some of my fielders? So I would get the feeling here because, again, fast infield, ball flies. I was, Steve Stone once said when I came to Wrigley Field, boy, would you love to pitch here with the wind blowing out. So again, they're making the best out of it. And it looks like the fans are supporting them, and they really have a lot of good young players on this A team. So get the pitching straight, stay in ball games. That's the difference now. The Orioles are playing well. Our pitching kind of turned around. And when, our general manager in California said, hey, you ever seen a team go from here to there? I said, not when you have good pitching, because it's the one consistent.
Yeah, Jim, that's what I was going to ask you is, what is it with all this velocity and Tommy John surgeries? And I mean, you're a guy that threw extremely hard, but I bet you there were years you pitched well over 250 innings. How many complete games that you probably 300. and so, I mean, no complete games now and 100 innings and you're out. I mean, what is it with this? Is it all about the how fast you can throw it, how much you can spin it? I thought it was getting people out.
Well, you guys know, I mean, you do your stats. So that if you go on Stats Pass, they tell you first time through the lineup, second time through the lineup, third time through the lineup. So, and then every once in a while, in my year, it would have been fourth time. So I understand if you have a good bullpen and you cannot go to the postseason, you cannot win a World Series if you don't have a good bullpen. But you tell me, guys train all year long. They're bigger, supposedly stronger. Why can't you get a guy out 3 times? Now, you want to learn about yourself? Go to Boston, face Fisk, Yaz, and Jim Rice in the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. You'll find out how smart you are. You'll find out what kind of heart you have. You'll find out if you can pitch first, what you said, throw. But again, they want to win games. We know that this baseball is now analytically driven. I would like all the information I could have, but if you're that good in whatever, why can't you get a guy out at least 3 times? Yeah. And again, I think it's because can you dance?
A little bit.
Okay. Can you sing?
No.
Okay. So if you were going to a Broadway audition, you'd probably say, okay, I'm going to tap dance for you. I'm going to ballet dance for you. I'm going to yodel. You're going to show them everything you have on that audition. That is a major league pitcher in the first inning. We were taught, hey, throw a guy low and away fastball. See what he does. If he doesn't hit it, throw him another one. If he doesn't hit it, throw him another one. Now, if he gets a base hit, and you got up almost 7,500 times. You hit 280, 81 or something. Yep. You stole over 440 bases. I mean, you got a great career.
Man.
So anyway, if I throw you a low and away fastball and you hit it to right field, I want to find out that before I have runners at second and third in scoring position. If I try to strike you out the first time, which not easy because you didn't strike out very much, what do I do? How do I know really how I want to get you out? Some guy with your iPad telling me, oh, he can't hit a high fastball. Yeah. Well, Cincinnati, I started the 70 World Series. We had Cuellar with 24 wins, McNally with 23, both left-handers. And really good left-handers. First 7 guys in the Cincinnati lineup that year were high fastball hitters. I raised my hand. I said, why am I starting the World Series against Cincinnati Reds? They go, not your high fastball. So the game is, hey, you got to find out. How do you find out? You get out on the mound. To your point, I pitched 190 innings in A-ball instructional league, walked 182 guys. It's a lot of walks. Next year I was in the big leagues because I got to pitch. Nowadays they kind of baby people. 305, 315, 323, 25 complete games, 10 shutouts.
Whoa.
We got paid for that. So, you played behind Oral Hershiser.
Yeah.
Was he leaving the game in the ninth
Hell
inning?
No way.
Yeah. So, the game has changed. I understand. But if I had Mariano Rivera, I would have pitched 8 innings. I said, Mariano, here it is. Go get him, baby.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We had good relievers, but not Mariano. But again, you got paid for innings, paid for complete games. I won 20 games 4 straight years. When I hurt my elbow, I had to take a $5,000 pay cut.
Wow.
And I was only making $125,000. So the game is different.
Wow.
Well, speaking of analytics, we've had the author on of The Last Manager, the Earl Weaver book.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read the book.
Well, I helped him write it.
Okay. Well, interesting hearing about Earl Weaver, and his analytics came from his uncle, who was a bookmaker. Yeah. Did you guys know about this stuff about Earl Weaver and how much he paid attention from the gambling percentages and aspect of it?
No. But he had the Weaver cards were little 3x5 cards. Earl was the master of the negative positive. It'd be like you're going out to get Fisk and Yaz and Rice out with a 1-run lead. Now you got him out 3 times. It's 4-3, 3-2, whatever it is. Fenway Park, short porch and left. You'd be sitting there the whole inning, half inning, going, okay, I got him out this way, got him out that way, whatever. And as you were going out on the field, Earl would say, "Can't get beat till you walk somebody." Now that is a negative thought, but to him it was a positive thought because he didn't want you to walk anybody. It'd be like you were caddying for Tiger, Lake on the left. Tiger's got a 1-stroke lead in the U.S. Open. You're his caddy. You go, Tiger, whatever you do, don't hit it in that lake there on the left. So that was Earl Weaver. But, Earl had the stats. They weren't current like they are now. But, okay, so we had 4 20-game winners in 1971. Would you have liked to manage the team? Let's see, which 20-game winners should I start tonight? So Earl had, he was a very good manager. He came through our organization, A-ball, AA, AAA. We had really good teams, and he continued that. And, the interesting thing, he came at the All-Star break of 68. Managed all the way to 1980 with a 1-year deal, 109 wins, 108 wins, and the interesting thing about and you went through it. I didn't have a long-term deal, so every time Earl, it was a love-hate relationship because, he always wanted me to do better, and I was pretty good as it was, but he gave me the ball every 4th day for all those years. Trusted me that I would go out and pitch well, or Cuellar, or McNally, or Flanagan, or McGregor, Dennis Martinez, who won over 245 games. And he would keep his job. And that's the way the game was. No guaranteed contracts for either Earl or us. But again, how'd you earn your money? Just went out and played well. So game, again, we all know the game's changed, and that's fine. But understand it, respect it, realize how lucky you are to be able to make the kind of money. I mean, I've been reading about Luis Severino is going to pitch tonight, and I guess he doesn't like it, so he can't go sit in the air conditioning. Now, didn't he get $67 million deal?
Yes.
Okay, so I read today in the Baltimore paper, Derrick Henry, 79 yards short of 2,000. He signed a 2-year deal for $30 million. The second best running back. What do you think's harder, pitching every 5th day, or trying to right, and then go to the playoffs, play maybe 20 games, weighing 245 pounds and all that. So here's the deal: just know how blessed you are. Go out there, have a good time, which is all. And you played on the same kind of teams. Boy, the Dodgers played well. We played well. You come to the ballpark, you never think you're going to win, but you expect to win if you do the right things.
Yeah. Jim, I got to ask you, people talk about how important it is with the defense up the middle, being strong defensively up the middle. We saw the play that Denzel Clark made the other day really saved the game. I wanted to ask you if you could describe a little bit about Mark Belanger. He was a teammate of mine as well, late in my career when he came over to the Dodgers. And I know you played a lot of years with Mark. How good was this guy at shortstop?
He was really good. We played in Aberdeen, South Dakota for Cal Ripken's dad, and we were 80-37. Blade, we called him Blade because he was 169 pound. On Sunday when we would weigh in, he'd go on the scale first because he never ever weighed anything but 169 pounds. He won 8 Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
And
he never wore a cup.
No, I said that on the air last night. He's one of the few infielders, but he had such great hands. He didn't feel the need
Imagine that, Towny.
No.
Didn't wear. Go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
That's gambling.
No. So,
How about gambling?
Yeah.
Not when you have those kind of hands.
Yeah.
But you know the one thing he never did? Dove for a ball.
That's
and nor
right.
did Paul
I
Blair.
never saw him do
Paul
it.
Blair never dove for a ball.
Interesting.
They said you didn't need to do it. So
Joe DiMaggio never did. Yeah.
Blade had one great offensive year. If we did not let Charlie Lau go to Kansas City, he was our hitting instructor, for a $5,000 raise, he got Mark to hit 287 because Blade was so good with a glove. Jimmy Fry went on to manage and be our hitting instructor. He'd go, let's go hit. No, I feel fine. Now, Charlie would say, no, you don't. He would grab his uniform, drag him out to the field. And if that's the case, Blade probably would have been in Cooperstown. He was that good a defensive player. Wow. Not to mention the fact he was the best basketball player in Massachusetts. So if you wanted to see his varsity team played, you had to go to the JV game because they sold out every time. So remarkable athlete. Wow. And again, the way you get to the Hall of Fame is to have players like that playing with you and not against you. So, yeah, he was a terrific glove. And my first shortstop, Louis Aparicio, he wasn't too bad either. He's in the Hall of Fame. And then I had another Hall of Famer, Cal Ripken, as my the other shortstop before I retired. So you want to win a lot of games, have good players playing behind you.
Let's end on this. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, it's always a special time. I got to go back in '99 to the induction ceremony, which was Nolan Ryan, George Brett, Robin Yount, Orlando Cepeda, and to see all of you guys on the stage. And the night before the dinner where you guys all come in the trolleys and everything. I mean, just that weekend is so special. What is it like for you, one of the greats, to be with all the greats where you guys come back together one time a year?
Well, I got him with Joe Morgan, who won a couple of MVPs, dominant player in the National League, little Joe. So the night we got rained out, only time in the history of the Hall of Fame on Sunday. Now they're going to do it in an auditorium. So as you know, they had the induction. You come back to the hotel, you give out the Hall of Fame rings. You used to have the league presidents. Now you have the Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball. So, all the Hall of Famers get together and all that kind of stuff. And so we're in there and everybody's talking and, whatever. And it's just a really special time. So Ted Williams grabs the microphone and Stan Musial, Stan the man, 3,630 hits, one of the great players of all time. He had illness, and Ted says, boy, it's great to see you're back, and we hope you're well. And right then I realized I am really part of a special fraternity. And my last couple of words, of my speech, I said the only reason I tried, and you probably went through this too, the only reason I tried to be as good as I was is because the guys sit behind me. They set these impeccably high standards, whether it was complete games. I remember Robin Roberts, who eventually would have 286 wins when I was 19. He was twice my age. He mentored me, knew I'd take his job. But the reason I tried to be as good as I was because of these guys, So, what I said was, you pay more for less. What do you get? So as well as I do, and you play for great managers. You play, But do we have a moment for? Okay.
So I just don't want to keep you too long.
No.
I could do this all day.
Okay. Wait. So, did you ever play for Lasorda?
Lasorda, yeah. 8-9 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you come back, it's one of the great stories. It's just happened. So you come back and, they take the team picture, the wives on one side, and because we don't get along with our wives. And then you go and you have the players on the other side with Lake Oswego in the background. Then you come up, they have some hors d'oeuvres and cocktails, and then you go in for the dinner. So I walk in, and first table right here's Tommy Lasorda. So he said, hey, why don't you sit with us? So I sit down, and all of a sudden, here comes Yogi Berra. Here comes Whitey Ford.
Oh, man.
Here comes Duke Snyder.
Wow.
And another New Yorker that played when DiMaggio and Mantle played, Willie Mays.
Wow.
Now, I'm sitting there, and I'm going, I'm not going to have to say a word. So Tommy, they serve the salad, and Tommy looks over at Yogi, and he says, hey, they just had Tommy Lasorda Day at Dodger Stadium. They know I love the Dodgers. They gave me a Dodger blue tombstone with my face etched with a little tear because I love the Dodgers. Yogi, what do you want on your tombstone? And Yogi goes, Tom, it's easy. It's over. Not rehearsed. This is not going on the Letterman or the Tonight Show or Jay Leno. What do you want? So Whitey Ford, who was one of the great left-handed pitchers, won 25 games one year. He says, if you think that's something, 2 weeks ago, we had Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium, and they'd really do a nice job. So they're showing from Miller Huggins to Gehrig to Ruth to, Mantle and Thurman Munson and, all the great Yankees that have died. And Yogi's standing there with Don Mattingly to his left and Whitey to his right. And Yogi looks at Don Mattingly and he says, Donnie, I sure hope I never see my picture up there. And that's was Yogi Berra. So to be able to not only be part of that club, so to speak, and I grew up in New York. I mean, I could have been a Dodger fan. I could have been no offense. I could have been a Yankee fan, or a Giant fan. I love the Yankees. And I was, I think I was 30 and 16 lifetime, because when I was 9 years old, my dad, just like Billy Crystal and City Slickers, he took me in the Yankee Stadium before color television. And when I walked through that tunnel at 9 years old and it rained a little bit, I never realized how green the grass was. And that's kind of what Major League Baseball is. I mean, it's different now. And Billy's talked about that in City Slickers. He said, the greatest day ever. And I said, yeah, Billy. And I met him at a fundraiser. And I said, the difference is you didn't come in 10 years later when you were 19, strike out Mantle, Maris, and Elston Howard with the bases loaded, like I had the chance to do. So, again, I mean, I grew up as a kid. I'm sure you probably did the same thing. You dreamed about being a major league. You played with the Dodgers, one of the great organizations. I got to play with a team. I was there from 65 to 84, had the best winning percentage in baseball.
Yep.
And again, it's a gift. And, you got to do the work. You got to luck out, because I was a year before the draft. My parents, they always told me, get an education, work hard, never let anybody work you, and pick the right team, and you might have a great career. And it really turned out that way.
Well, speaking of a gift, it's always a gift to have you on A's Cast Live. You're so generous with your time. A baseball legend, truly one of the greats of all time. We hope you broadcast forever and you keep on coming out.
That's up to the Orioles, but that's a whole nother story. No, hey, listen, I enjoy doing it. The one thing, Steve, you probably say it too. The game looks pretty easy on television sometimes. And I even broadcast when I played. And I think the one thing I want people to realize, when a guy hangs a curveball, you don't know he's going to hang it. And when he pops it up, or you throw a ball down the middle, or you make an error, that's baseball. Yeah. So, again, I'm just happy to be around it. I think it does keep you young, and I know it keeps your mind young. Yeah. I sat next to a guy that did Learning Symposium. I said, if I stop broadcasting, so I'm going to be 80 in October. This is 10 years ago. I said, if I stop broadcasting, how long till my brain to turn into a melon? He says, I'll give you 18 months. So I'm going to broadcast as long as I can. But thank you. Thanks for having with me.
Truly one of the greatest of all time, the great Jim Palmer, right here on A's Cast Live.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.